Hello and welcome back. My name is India and I happen to read a lot, and today we're going to be talking about all the books that I read in October. I didn't read that many books in October, but what I read in October, 80% of it was above 4 stars. So it was overall a very, very good month. There's not really much to say, so we're just going to dive right in and freak out about the fact that autumn is nearly over. So, as always, we start off with the worst books of the month and work our way up. Starting off first with Amazon brought out a collection of short romance Halloween themed stories, and I read 2. And unfortunately, one of them, of the 2 that I read, was not great, and that was All My Boyfriends Are Monsters by Kimberly Lemming. I ultimately gave that one 2.5. There was nothing ultimately wrong with it. I do think Kimberly Lemming's humour is really funny, and I like her sense of humour. And I liked the story in theory. I just didn't love the execution of the short story. And as much as I like Kimberly Lemming's humour and I like her ideas, I've tried another one of her romances and I just don't think they're personally for me, which is a shame because I think she's really funny. Then moving on, we have The Body in the Kitchen Garden by Paula Sutton, and we just need a moment for this. We need an absolute fucking moment, because this was before I created my channel, but before I created my channel, I read the first book in this series. And the first book was called The Potting Shed Murders, and I was sent it by the publisher out of nowhere, and it ended up being one of my favourite mysteries of that year that I read it. It was so good. I speak to customers and I recommend that book to people all the time because I really like how our main character leads with kindness and empathy, and the way that she finds out her information is by leading with understanding first, which you don't really see that much in many like modern day detectives that I have personally read. There's probably definitely some out there, I just haven't read them. And I was very excited to finally get round to reading the sequel. This is one of my 26 to read before I turn 26. And I was incredibly excited to read it. And then I read it. And it was really fucking disappointing. I was so upset. The main issues that I had with this book is, 1, the new characters that bulk out the new mystery are barely there. Like, normally when you get a mystery set in the same world, set in the same village, you get a good amount of side characters, so it could be any one of them. I think they introduced 3 side characters, mainly 2 in this book. So automatically, if you've read a lot of murder mysteries, you're kind of like, okay. The side characters, while interesting, there weren't enough. Daphne, our main character, while still leading with kindness and empathy, which I love, does no investigating. She does no investigating. She just walks around and people just tell her information. She does not put 2 and 2 together. She does it once. And I just remember reading it going, when are we actually going to get any investigating done by our detective? The answer is we're not. The answer is that the villains are just going to tell her everything that she needs to know. I was so disappointed because she was so active in the first book. Literally, she pushed that plot forward. In this one, the plot happens around her. I felt like she had no agency in this book. I was severely disappointing. The plot itself was completely, like, within the first 50 pages, I knew how it was going to end. I don't mind, in the grand scheme of things, and knowing what's going on. Like, I just recently watched the first episode of Midsummer Murders, and I was like, I know how this is going to end. But the way we got there was so much fun. In this, at first, when about 50 pages in, I was like, this is really fucking obvious. You've barely given us any side characters, and it's obviously not going to be the side characters from book 1, who we all know are interesting and fine people now. Do you know what I mean? So I was like, it's obviously going to be some of these new characters. And then secondly, getting there to that reveal, which again, I don't mind if the getting there bit's interesting, wasn't even interesting, and our main detective did fuck all to actually move the plot forward. It just happened around her. I was so disappointed because the first book was a 5-star favourite of the year that I read it, and I do not know how, from start to finish, the entire team behind this book were like, yeah, I guess that's okay. I'm sorry. I was severely disappointed in this. After that, I read Bog People this is edited by Hollie Starling. It's a working class folk horror collection, which I don't read many short story collections because it's always the case that one or two are absolutely amazing and other ones are fine. But this was actually a really, really solid book. As you can see, I highlighted quite a lot. I want to shout out specifically Daniel Draper for his short story Perpetual Stew, because that haunted me for about 4 days after I read it. This just takes working class authors who write some modern day folk horror based on kind of their own experiences. I really, really enjoyed it. I definitely started losing momentum near to the end of the collection, but overall there was a lot of really good standout ones. Definitely a better short story collection than I've read in previous years from other collections. So I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Another book from that Amazon collection was Hot for Slayer by Ali Hazelwood. This will be the 4th piece of fiction that I've read this year by Ali Hazelwood. Earlier in the year, I read her STEMinist novellas, which I really enjoyed. This one was so much fun. Again, like with Kimberly Lemming, I really like Ali Hazelwood's sense of humour. I think it's really fun. I thought it was really fast-paced. I really liked the story in this one. I felt the story had a bit of oomph to it. It didn't just feel like with some of the others, because I did dip into one of the other couple of collections where it felt like smut for the sake of smut. And this one, we did get a lot of backstory on both of these characters. It was a bit rushed near to the end and the revealing of feelings, but considering you're working on a small page count, I let it slide. I just really enjoy Ali Hazelwood's books. I'm looking forward to maybe next year diving into actually one of her novels, because I've either read short stories and novellas at this point. But overall, just a really good short story. Moving on then, we enter our 4.5 territory, and we have One to Buckle My Shoe by Agatha Christie. We all know the palaver that was when I was choosing my TBR, and this was meant to be the book that I read in September and ended up being Evil Under the Sun instead. There was a big palaver because Evil Under the Sun was one that on paper should be one that I absolutely loved, and I thought it was very average. And this one did not seem like anything that I would be interested in, and actually blew my mind. It was actually really, really good. The elements of this I really liked is I listened to the All About Agatha podcast, which I would highly recommend if you're a Christie fan. And this is one of the first books that Christie wrote during World War II, and you can tell. This book is a lot darker. This follows Poirot, who tries to solve the murder of his dentist who died not long after he saw him. And it is very convoluted and complicated in a way that I thought was really engaging and really fun. And I liked the darkness of this story. I liked the somber element to it. You can tell that this is written during World War II. Poirot himself has a lot of self-doubt in this book, which was really interesting to see. I liked the mystery. I really liked the side characters. Overall, this was one of the best iterations of Poirot for me so far, and I really, really enjoyed the story. Adding on to the fact that I thought I was going to hate this, and I didn't. Then we have The Midnight Shift by Seon-Ran, which is a fantasy thriller. Follows a detective who works with a vampire hunter to figure out the mysteries behind the death of a lot of dementia patients at this one particular hospital. And it cuts between 3 different characters. It cuts between our police detective, the nurse at the hospital, and this vampire hunter. And we get a lot of their backstory of who they are as people, why they've made the decisions that they've made. I had sapphic vampires, and I really enjoyed that element of the story. I thought that was really good. I really liked delving into the minds of these characters. As we all know, I'm more of a plot-based girly than a character-based girly, but the plot in this, while also really good, was completely amplified by diving into the backgrounds of these women. I liked the 3 multiple points of view. I thought they all worked seamlessly, and I thought they were incredibly well balanced. I liked the world building of the vampires. Why it's not some massive amount of world building. It's very like low level fantasy, like really low level. I really enjoyed what we got. I really liked the writing style. I just overall really liked it. I did think a little bit near to the end that the mystery itself wrapped up quite quickly, but everything else about it I really, really liked. But because of the wrapping up quite quickly, I deducted a 0.5 star. But overall, this was just a really, really, really good, engrossing book. And I've come to realise that I'm a massive Korean fiction fan. I've tried loads of Japanese novels. I'm more of a Japanese crime fan than Japanese fiction. And obviously I love my manga. But Korean fiction of every variety seems to be something that I find really, really enjoyable. I don't know whether it's the language or the translators or what, but I love Korean fiction, and this is another one that I would highly recommend. Then we move on to my 5-star reads. These are very, very interesting because normally I will give you my favourite book of the month, and I can't actually choose between these two. These two are 2 vastly, vastly different books. You have The Assassin's Apprentice, which is an epic fantasy written by Robin Hobb following the bastard son of the heir to the throne and how he is kept within the royal family and trained up to be an assassin. And then you have a YA mystery thriller following a young girl called Lara who is attending her cousin's wedding in Nigeria, and the bride is poisoned. And she takes it upon herself to solve the mysteries surrounding this wedding. So two vastly, vastly different epic fantasy, brand new world, modern day contemporary set in Nigeria following the ups and downs of social media and family. So both very, very different books, but I genuinely enjoyed them in such different ways, but also equally at the same time, if that makes sense. And they're also around the time of one of my most favourite experiences that I've had this year, which is the Cheltenham Literary Festival, which I attended with the Readers Guild and the Bookseller for the New Adult Prize. I have a vlog out. I read this on the train journey from hell that I had making my way up there. And then this was the one book I bought there that I read straight afterwards, recommended to me by the Readers Guild. So it was quite interesting because these just, I think, also represent such a great time. But we'll start first with Till Death. So yeah, as I said, this follows Lara. Lara's cousin is getting married. She is this up-and-coming social media socialite. And Lara, in the first chapter, you know that the bride gets poisoned. But also during that, Lara is finding out that the bride is being sent threatening messages. And Lara takes upon herself as a wannabe criminologist, amateur detective who loves mystery novels and loves true crime podcasts, that she's going to take it upon herself to figure out what the hell is going on. It is the perfect balance of fun, classic tropes that you get from YA thrillers, toxic best friends, exes, trying to appeal to your parents, Gossip Girl-esque blogging. It's really, really good. Alongside that, you also have an incredibly engaging mystery, really good conversations around bringing awareness and ending the stigma to sickle cell, which is something that I personally only knew a little bit about. So I learned a lot here. And yeah, I just really, really enjoyed it. When I first got into it, I was thinking, am I a YA reader? I was like, I've been reading adult fantasy or new adult stuff for so long. This is very like YA in terms of kind of writing. And I was like, is this for me? I'm not sure. And then literally within about 100 pages, I was fucking hooked. And the mystery is so good. And I just want to add, and I don't want to like compare authors or anything, but obviously, as I mentioned with The Body in the Kitchen Garden, it didn't feel that the detective was really doing anything to push the narrative forward. It felt that everything was just being told to the detective. In this one, there are so many different plot threads that Busayo has to link up together by the end of the book. Lara is such a great, headstrong, intelligent, empathetic, loyal, kind person, which is what I loved so much about The Body in the Kitchen, about Daphne in that series, that it was so much fun to watch her literally grab the bull by the horns and be like, no, I am solving this mystery. And also just the intricacies of which the multiple different threads are weaved in this book. So good. So good. So yes, really, really liked it. There were some things, I guess the murder at the end, kind of more due to process of elimination. And I was really enjoying it. I was going to give it 4 stars. And about the 75% mark, we get a big kind of reveal. And that bumped it up because I felt that Busayo was entering some really interesting topics and really prevalent, necessary conversations that need to be had. But also it just took this from like, oh, this is a fun kind of like, who's getting the bride wedding, to, oh, this has a lot of emotional depth that maybe I didn't originally think, because you were surrounded by frenemies and exes coming back and will they, won't they, will the wedding break up? And it was like fun, Gossip Girl-esque, and then suddenly it's like, boom, emotional turmoil. And it was really, really good. So yeah, massive fan of Till Death. And then obviously we have Assassin's Apprentice. I've seen this on my social media for years about people whose lives were literally changed reading this series. And I've always been intimidated because this is the shortest one. The rest of them are about twice. Yeah, I would say normally about that big is all the other books in the series. And there's like 5 different trilogies or something like that. And I heard it was slow paced. So I've always, even though this was the year where I was like, I need to get back into epic fantasy, I need to slow down. We're also now getting to the end of the year. And I'm like, I don't think I can face reading big chunky books that require a lot of brain energy near to the end of the year. I want really engaging, fast-paced thrillers is what I want. But I read it. I read it on, as I said, my awful train journey where I was just sat on multiple different trains for ages. But this was really, really good. Yes, it was so slow paced. Yes. And normally I'm not a massive slow paced book fan. Like, I just struggle through them. My attention span doesn't really work. I actually put this book down for a bit, which we all know. We all know that if that book is down on a table, I'm never picking that shit back up again, because my attention span is very short. I can engage with a lot of books. That's why I think I tend to just avoid chunky fantasies, because my attention span is just not great. I'm surprised I managed to read like 3 or 4 Robert Jordan books. But I wanted to give this a go. I wanted to hear what the people were talking about, and it did blow my mind. Like, I wanted to finish it. It is incredibly heartbreaking, and that's one of the other things that people said, is that you just go through so much emotional turmoil. Clearly, these are the things that I love about books at the moment. But it follows Fitz. He finds out that he's the bastard son of the heir to the throne, brought in to be looked after by the royal family because they don't want a bastard uprising against the royal family trying to claim the throne. And this follows him kind of from about, I want to say 6 till 14, as he tries to learn his place within his family, learn what his skills are. There are raiders attacking the country. There's royal alliances, marriage alliances. And it's just a really good, solid, kind of what you expect from an epic fantasy. And I just really enjoyed it. I loved Fitz as a character. I really enjoyed the world building. I liked the exploration into the magic system. I liked the exploration of different cultures within this fantasy world. I am scared for the future books because they're about 7,000 pages long, but I'm determined to at least read the first trilogy. We'll go from there. But yeah, really, really enjoying it. Really, really good. Listen to the people on social media when they tell you this series is good. You should trust them. And there we go. That is all the books that I read in October. I tried to go kind of spooky. I don't know how successful I actually was in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, these are the books that I read. If you have read any of these, or you liked any of them, or recommend anything, please do let me know. But for now, please like and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And I'll see you for whatever I post next.